Have you ever wondered what English football was really like before the likes of Cantona, Zola, Henry, and Holland graced the pitch? Before the Premier League became the global spectacle it is today? Let's take a trip back in time to an era of muddy pitches, crunching tackles, and a style of play that was uniquely, unapologetically English. Before the Bosman ruling in 1995 changed everything, foreign players were a rarity in the English First Division. Teams were almost entirely composed of players from the British Isles. This created a very distinct culture and a specific style of football. The game was raw, physical, and incredibly fast-paced. It was often described as blood and thunder, built on a foundation of strength, stamina, and sheer determination. The dominant formation was the classic 4-4-2. It was simple, effective, and everyone knew their job. You had two tough, no-nonsense center backs whose main job was to head the ball clear and tackle anything that moved. Fullbacks were expected to defend first and foremost, though some would overlap on occasion. The midfield was the engine room. It was patrolled by two central midfielders, one a ball winner, the enforcer, and the other a passer, the playmaker who dictated the tempo. Think of legends like Brian Robson or Graeme Souness, players who could tackle like a warrior and spray a 40-yard pass in the same breath. Out wide, you had traditional wingers. Their job was to get the ball, beat their man, and whip in a cross. The target? The classic big man, little man strike partnership. One striker was a tall, powerful target man, an aerial threat who would battle defenders and nod the ball down. His partner was a smaller, quicker fox in the box, a poacher who would sniff out half chances and finish them clinically. Players like Ian Rush and Kenny Dalglish at Liverpool or Andy Cole and Peter Beardsley at Newcastle perfected this dynamic. The tactics were often direct. Route 1 football wasn't a criticism. For many teams, it was a legitimate and successful strategy. Why mess about with intricate passing in midfield when you could get the ball into the opponent's box as quickly as possible? The long ball from the back, aimed at the head of the big striker, was a common sight. The game was played at a relentless pace, with little time on the ball. It was about moving the ball forward quickly and pressuring the opposition relentlessly. The pitches themselves played a huge part. Before the pristine, carpet-like surfaces of today, grounds were often heavy, muddy, and uneven, especially during the winter months. This made slick, one-touch passing football almost impossible. Players had to be physically robust to cope with the conditions and the bone-jarring tackles that were part and parcel of the game. Referees were also more lenient. A tackle that would earn a straight red card today might have just been a free kick back then. It was a true test of physical and mental resilience. But don't think it was all just brute force. The league was filled with incredibly skillful players. Think of the dazzling wing play of John Barnes, the sublime touch and vision of Glenn Hoddle, or the creative genius of Chris Waddle. These players stood out, adding a touch of flair and unpredictability to the power-based English game. They were the artists among the artisans. The atmosphere in the stadiums was electric, but very different from today. Terraces were still common, where fans would stand packed together, creating an intense and often intimidating wall of sound. The connection between the club and the local community was incredibly strong. The players were local heroes, often from the same working-class backgrounds as the fans who cheered them on. It fostered a deep, tribal loyalty. You supported your local team through thick and thin because they were a reflection of your town, your people. Then, things began to change. The Premier League was formed in 1992, bringing a massive influx of television money. The Bosman ruling in 1995 allowed out-of-contract players to move freely between clubs in the EU, opening the floodgates for foreign talent. The first wave brought players who combined technical skill with the necessary physicality to adapt. Eric Cantona arrived at Manchester United and became a catalyst for their dominance, bringing a swagger and technical artistry that was transformative. At Chelsea, Gianfranco Zola enchanted fans with his magical skills and infectious smile. These players, and others like them, acted as pioneers. They demonstrated that foreign players could not only survive but thrive in the English game. They brought new ideas, new training methods, and different tactical approaches. Managers like Arsène Wenger at Arsenal completely revolutionized the English game, introducing concepts around diet, sports science, and a possession-based, technical style of play that was a world away from the traditional English approach. The arrival of foreign stars undoubtedly raised the technical level of the league. English players had to adapt and improve to compete. The game became more tactical, more diverse, and arguably more entertaining for a global audience. The old 4-4-2 became less common, replaced by more flexible formations like 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. The big man, little man partnership gave way to lone strikers or versatile forward lines. The muddy pitches were replaced by pristine playing surfaces, allowing for a faster, slicker passing game. Looking back, it's not about saying one era was better than the other. The pre-foreigner era had a unique charm, a raw honesty, and a powerful sense of identity. It produced tough, resilient, and wholehearted footballers who were deeply connected to their clubs and communities. The modern Premier League is a global phenomenon, a melting pot of cultures and styles, showcasing some of the best footballing talent the world has ever seen. The English game before foreign influence was a different beast altogether, a gritty, powerful, and unforgettable chapter in football history. It was the foundation upon which today's global spectacle was built. Thanks for joining me on this trip down memory lane. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Let me know in the comments who your favorite player from that era was. See you next time.